I'd like a moment to talk to you about an awesome conversation that I had with an awesome male client of mine, new client. And it is my hope that what I shared with him is a help to you the way it was to him. He's 33 years old. He's single. He's from a very small town, no children. And he said, Doc, I'm reaching out to you because I met a woman about 3 months ago that I've been getting to know over the last 3 months. And he said they have gone on maybe 3 or 4 dates. They both work very busy schedules. They talk daily. They're just getting to know one another. And he said, he's interested in her. I said, okay, what's the problem? He said, well, we recently had a conversation about, just the direction of how things were going. And she said, there was no pressure at all. She said, she was really pleased with getting to know him and hoped that he was as well. He said he was, but she felt like they weren't at a place to put a label on anything at the time. And he said he had no problem with that. And I said, so what are you two? He said, what do you mean? I said, like, what are you? Are you just friends? He said, I guess so. He said, we don't have a label. So I guess we are friends. I said, yeah, you do. And that label is called friends. I said, that label is important because anything that does not have a label can't be identified. And what is a tragic mistake oftentimes when two people are getting to know one another is that they don't place a label on the things that they are doing to get to know one another. Even if that label is bare minimum basic friends, you need to call it something. Because what we don't label, we can't identify. It becomes miscellaneous. And anything without a label that is miscellaneous can be handled or treated any kind of way. He said, Doc, that makes perfect sense. I said, so, maybe that's a conversation you want to have a follow-up there. I said, so this sounds good. I said, what do you need me for? He said, well, 3 weeks ago, he was about 2 hours away from his hometown and he was going to a store and he came out and ran into this gorgeous woman, drop dead gorgeous woman. And he said, he apparently caught her eye. She caught his eye. And they ended up speaking to one another. And, he said he asked her name and likewise. And they were just talking, small talking. And he asked for her number. I said, okay. He said, she gave me the number. And, as we got in the car, was pulling off, I text her. He said, and gave her my number, and she responded and said, give me a call if you've got a second. So he called her. You're not going to believe this. He called her and she answered and they were just small talking. And, she was like, so where are you from? So he tells her where he's from, this small town. And lo and behold, she's from the same town. He said, wow, he said, Doc, the odds of me meeting her 2 hours away from this small town. And, he said they were in a larger city. I know the places, the locations. So they were in a larger city, but they stay in a town that's 2 hours away from this large city in the United States. And he said the odds of that are just so small that you would be in this large place and run into somebody from the small town. I said, so did you all know one another? He said, no, I didn't know her. She didn't know me. He said, so, I started asking about mutual people. Like, who do you know? Do you know this person, this person? And she's like, yeah, I know this person. I know this person. And she says, do you know this person? And the person that she mentioned is the woman he had been talking to for the last 3 months. I laughed. He started laughing. I said, man, what did you do? I mean, I really got tickled on the call. I said, what did you do? He said, man, I froze. He said, I won't lie. He said, I froze. I said, what did she say? I said, she was like, well, do you know such and such? He was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, cool. How do you know? I said, I met her, not too long ago. She's a really cool lady. And he left it there. He said, Doc, I'm at a loss, man. He said, because I really like the lady that I've been dating and getting to know for the 3 months that I've met her. He said, but this woman is really attractive, really seems to check the boxes, really cool. He said, I just liked her vibe and energy. and I don't know what to do. He said, help me. I said, so you have in essence met someone who is connected to someone you've already expressed interest to. Is that correct? He said, yes, sir. I said, this is what I need you to know from this. I said, the worst thing you can do to anybody you're getting to know is make them look stupid. Don't ever forget it. You may not have to have a lot of money. You may not have a lot going for you in your career. Your business might be slow. You may not have as many degrees as someone else. But at minimum, you should never desire to make a person look stupid. And I said, technically, you're still friends with the original person, right? That's your label, whether you all have recognized that label or not. It's not a miscellaneous label, and this needs to be cleared up. I said, because if she were miscellaneous, you wouldn't have called me in the first place. So she clearly means something to you, right? She's not quite at the level, according to you, of maybe girlfriend, but she's clearly not miscellaneous. I said, so the worst thing you can do is make her look stupid. I said, because as a man, even if you don't know where people fit into your life at this time, the greatest value you can offer to her is by being truthful about what category she's in if you are getting to know her and multiple people. I said the same thing applies to women. I said if a woman is dating multiple people, which I don't think is a great idea for men or women to do it, to be frank with you, I just don't think you need to date them all. A lot of people don't agree with me on that. I don't care. But the reality is, if you're going to date multiple people at a time, it's important that everybody knows what their label is. Because when everybody knows what their label is, then nobody can accuse you of making them look stupid. And this is the problem with what we know as modern day dating or courting or getting to know people. Because people, I've learned through my work, will respect you a lot more if you just tell them what it is and what it is not. When we assign labels, there can be no confusion. There can be no misunderstanding because we've been clear about what something is and what something is not. I hope that made sense. If it did, type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you. What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb. Listen, I've been dying to make this announcement for a very long time now, and I'm pleased to say that Inspire Nation has officially launched. Yes, we finally got a Facebook and YouTube community group where we're going to have exclusive content, exclusive shorts, exclusive discussion prompts, where we're going to engage with other people literally around the world who are on the same healing journey that we're on. I need you to go find these pages right now on Facebook and YouTube. Inspire Nation, follow the page, join the group, introduce yourself, and be prepared to link up with literally thousands of people around the world who are on the same healing journey, who are looking for the same resources, and who want to also be surrounded with other like-minded individuals who are growing in the same direction as you are. I'm so excited about this because it's the beginning of some great things I can't talk about right now. Listen, you got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.